This kiss will put Taylor's life in danger. The bold and the beautiful spoilers, creative fiction. The sun dipped low over Los Angeles, bathing the cliffs of Malibu in molten gold. The ocean below the Forrester estate was deceptively calm, its rhythmic waves whispering secrets that no one on the terrace could hear, yet. Inside the grand glass doors, fate was already shifting, nudged forward by a single, reckless moment that would change everything. Taylor Hayes stood near the edge of the terrace, her back straight, her shoulders tense beneath a silk blouse that fluttered in the breeze. She told herself she was here for closure. She told herself she was here for peace. But when Ridge Forrester stepped out beside her, tall and familiar and infuriatingly magnetic, the lie shattered. Neither of them spoke at first. They never needed to. Their history hovered between them like a living thing, years of love, betrayal, forgiveness, and heartbreak folding in on itself. Taylor had crossed oceans and rebuilt her life more times than she could count, yet somehow she always found herself here, standing across from Ridge, wondering why her heart still remembered his. Los Angeles hasn't changed, Ridge finally said, his voice low. Taylor smiled faintly. It has. We've changed. Ridge studied her face, the lines etched by wisdom and pain, the eyes that had always seen too much. You came back for a reason. She hesitated. So did you? His gaze softened, and for a moment the world narrowed to just the two of them. The past crept closer, tugging insistently. Taylor felt it in the tightness of her chest, in the way her breath shortened. She had sworn she wouldn't do this again, wouldn't reopen wounds that never truly healed. But Ridge reached out, his fingers brushing hers, and the promise unraveled. The kiss wasn't planned. It never is. It started as a fragile, tentative meeting of lips, an unspoken question. But when Taylor didn't pull away, when she leaned into him instead, the moment deepened, thick with emotion and regret and longing. The years between them collapsed. For those few seconds, nothing else existed. Except someone was watching. Across town, in a dimly lit office above a struggling design house, Sheila Carter stared at the paused security footage on her laptop. Her eyes gleamed with something far darker than jealousy, something sharp and hungry. Taylor Hayes. Back in Ridge's arms. Sheila's lips curled into a slow, dangerous smile. So, she murmured, tapping the screen, you still don't know when to stay away. Sheila had learned long ago that love was a weapon. And kisses? Kisses were detonators. She closed the laptop and stood, already planning her next move. Taylor's return wasn't just inconvenient, it was an opportunity. A perfect one. The next morning, the Forrester estate buzzed with tension. Brooke Logan sensed it the moment she walked into the living room and found Ridge staring out the window, lost in thought. You're up early, she said carefully. Ridge turned, guilt flickering across his face before he masked it. Couldn't sleep. Brooke crossed her arms. Is Taylor the reason why? Silence answered her. Brooke exhaled sharply, her heart sinking. You promised me. I know, Ridge said, running a hand through his hair. It just happened. That's always the excuse, Brooke snapped, pain bleeding through her anger. She comes back, and suddenly everything we built is at risk. Ridge looked away. I never meant to hurt you. But you did, Brooke whispered. Neither of them noticed the way the air itself seemed to tighten, as if warning them that the consequences of that kiss were only beginning. Taylor, unaware of the storm gathering around her, spent the day at the hospital, throwing herself into work. Patience grounded her. Science made sense. Emotions didn't. Yet even as she counseled others through trauma, her own heart replayed the moment on the terrace. The warmth of Ridge's lips. The familiarity. The danger. By late afternoon, she felt a strange unease settle over her, a sense of being watched. When she left the hospital, the parking garage was nearly empty. Her heels echoed sharply against the concrete as she headed toward her car. She fumbled for her keys, distracted by her thoughts. That's when she heard footsteps. She turned, pulse spiking. Hello? No answer. The footsteps stopped. Taylor laughed nervously at herself. Get it together, she thought. You're imagining things. She unlocked her car and slid into the driver's seat, exhaling in relief. But before she could start the engine, a sharp knock rapped against her window. She screamed. A familiar face appeared on the other side of the glass, smiling far too sweetly. Sheila, Taylor breathed, horror flooding her veins as she rolled the window down just enough to speak. What are you doing here? Sheila tilted her head. Catching up with an old friend. I don't have time for this, Taylor said, trying to keep her voice steady. Please move. Sheila's smile never reached her eyes. I saw you with Ridge. Taylor's stomach dropped. That's none of your business. Oh, but it is, Sheila replied softly. You see, some kisses have consequences. Before Taylor could respond, Sheila stepped back, hands raised innocently. Relax. I just wanted to say hello. She walked away, disappearing into the shadows. Taylor sat frozen, her heart pounding. Something told her this wasn't over, not by a long shot. That night, Sheila made her move. She placed a call to someone she knew would listen, someone who owed her. There's a woman, Sheila said smoothly, who needs a little scare. Nothing permanent. Just enough to make her disappear. A pause. She's a doctor, Sheila continued. Taylor Hayes. Another pause. Then a low chuckle on the other end of the line. Consider it done. Sheila hung up, satisfaction curling through her. Ridge would learn. They all would. The following day, Taylor received a call from an unknown number. Dr. Hayes, a man's voice said. This is about a patient you consulted on last year. There's been a complication. Concern overrode her caution. What hospital? He gave her an address on the outskirts of the city. She hesitated, then grabbed her keys. She never told anyone where she was going. At the Forrester estate, Brooke paced the living room, anxiety gnawing at her. Have you heard from Taylor? She asked Ridge. No, Ridge replied, frowning. Why? I don't know. I just have a bad feeling. Ridge's phone buzzed. A text message lit up the screen, from an unknown sender. The kiss was a mistake. Now she'll pay. Ridge's blood ran cold. Brooke, he said urgently, we need to find Taylor. Now. Taylor pulled up to the abandoned building just as dusk fell. The place looked deserted, windows dark, paint peeling. This doesn't feel right, she muttered. She stepped inside anyway. The door slammed shut behind her. Before she could react, a hand clamped over her mouth, dragging her backward. Panic surged as she struggled, her mind racing. You should have stayed away from Ridge, a voice hissed in her ear. Taylor fought harder, terror clawing through her. She kicked, twisted, then everything went black. Hours later, Ridge and Brooke arrived with the police, guided by a trail of clues and instinct. They found Taylor unconscious but alive, bound but breathing. Ridge dropped to his knees beside her, tears streaming down his face. I'm so sorry, he whispered. This is my fault. Taylor stirred, her eyes fluttering open. Pain radiated through her body, but she focused on Ridge's face. No, she rasped. It was the kiss. As sirens wailed in the distance, Sheila watched the scene unfold on the evening news, her expression unreadable. Not dead, she murmured. Yet. She turned off the TV, already plotting her next move. Because in Los Angeles, love was dangerous. And one kiss could still cost Taylor Hayes her life. Coming up on The Bold and the Beautiful. Will Taylor reveal the truth about who targeted her? Will Ridge's guilt push him back toward Brooke, or deeper into Taylor's orbit? And how far will Sheila go to finish what she started?